Same time.
Morning.
I was on. I just didn't have my camera on.
We can see you now. And hear you. Frank, that sweater looks really warm.
Good.
You were muted.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The meeting of the Forest Preserve District of the Cook County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Due to the public health emergency, including as a result of the Delta and Omicron variants, this meeting will be in accordance with the Open Meetings Act remote meeting rules. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Aguilar.
Here.
Commissioner Naya. Commissioner Naya. Commissioner Naya is absent. Commissioner Royal. Commissioner Royal. Commissioner Royal is absent. Commissioner Britton.
Britton here.
Commissioner Britton.
Britton here.
I see him on screen. Thumbs up. He is present. Thank you, sir. I didn't look at the screen for Commissioner Anaya. Is she connected? Commissioner Anaya is absent. Commissioner Royal is not connected. Commissioner Royal is absent. Commissioner Britton is present. Commissioner Daly.
Here. Yeah, Royal's here tonight.
Commissioner Daly.
Daly
I see
is here.
him visible.
You can't hear me? Could you hear me?
Commissioner Daly. Commissioner Daly is present. Thank you. Commissioner Deere.
Hello, can anybody hear me? I can hear you.
Commissioner Deere is here.
Commissioner Deere is here. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Degnan.
Degnan's present.
Commissioner Degnan is present. Commissioner Gaynor.
Gaynor's here.
Commissioner Gaynor is here. Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Johnson here.
Commissioner Johnson is here. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Laurie.
Commissioner Lowry is present.
Commissioner Laurie is present. Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Miller is absent. Commissioner Moore. Commissioner Moore. Commissioner Moore is absent. Commissioner Kevin Morrison.
Kevin Morrison here.
Commissioner Kevin Morrison is present. Commissioner Sean Morrison.
Commissioner Sean Morrison present.
Commissioner Sean Morrison is present. Commissioner Silvestri.
Silvestri is present.
Commissioner Silvestri is present. Commissioner Sims.
Sims here.
Commissioner Sims.
Sims is here.
Commissioner Sims is present. Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Suffredin.
Present.
Commissioner Suffredin, thank you. Let me revisit those that we called as absent. Commissioner Naya.
Naya is present.
Commissioner Naya is present. Thank you. Commissioner Arroyo.
Arroyo here.
Commissioner Arroyo is present. Thank you. Commissioner Miller.
Miller is here.
Commissioner Miller is present. Thank you. Commissioner Moore.
Commissioner Moore, clerk has asked for an excused absence.
Thank you. Commissioner Moore, excused absence. Madam President, you have all members present with the exception of Commissioner Moore, excused absent.
Thank you. The secretary has informed me that there's a quorum present. Commissioner Johnson, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you, Madam President. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll begin with public speakers. The secretary will announce the public speakers process.
Members of the public who wish to testify remotely have up until 24 hours before the scheduled start of the meeting to register in order to do so. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board and will be alerted when they have 1 minute time remaining, 30 seconds time remaining, and when time has expired. Written-only comments provided prior to the start of the board meeting will be made part of the meeting record and available to the members of the board. Madam President, we have written testimony from 9 individuals, and I will summarize those for the benefit of the board and our public listeners. So 9 written testimonies, 7 of those are requests the release of the coyote from the River Trail Nature Center, and the other 2 individuals write in support of the good work done at River Trail. We then have 10 speakers who are connected virtually, and our first registered speaker, Nuh-uh Ashakim Buja. Nuh-uh Ashakim Buja. Are you connected? I'll move to the second speaker. Nicole Milan, representing Northbrook. Nicole.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Milan, and I'm a Northbrook resident. I first observed Rocky the coyote visiting the River Trail Nature Center October 2021. I was troubled to learn that he has been caged alone for 4 years. I was immediately concerned about Rocky's tiny, cramped, inhumane, and unnatural cage size. I witnessed children screaming in front of his cage with nowhere for him to escape their vocal torture. There's nowhere for him to run or bask in the sun. Each time I visit Rocky, I witness him stress pacing in his cage with nowhere to go. I've repeatedly witnessed all the animals drinking water being frozen. This is very disturbing and alarming to experience. I spoke to Illinois Department of Natural Resource Wildlife biologist Nikki Strahl on November 4th, 2021, and she acknowledged that complaints have been made over the years, and she admitted the cage size was too small, yet USDA allowed. She encouraged me to contact Friends of the Forest Preserves, saying they were the decision makers, and suggested enlarging Rocky's cage for profits. I spoke to President Ed Woodbury, who wasn't even aware of Rocky's existence, and agreed with me that he had no business being there. I offered to make a donation to enlarge Rocky's cage, but I received an email from Jackie Ulrich refusing my donation. I also have called the Sheriff's Department because the Forest Preserve District is violating the minimum standards required under state law. Yesterday, I spoke with Lieutenant Jason Moran from the Sheriff's Police, who said he will investigate. Failing to provide adequate food, water, and shelter is a violation of the Humane Care for Animals Act, a Class B misdemeanor. After speaking with several rehabilitation experts, I learned Rocky is exhibiting signs of captive stress, and enlarging his cage is not the answer. I understand Rocky can never be released back into the wild, but there are better options. What I am proposing is that Rocky be transferred to the renowned Wild Animal Sanctuary in Keensburg, Colorado. This will be paid for by private donors, not the taxpayers. The Trailside Museum of Natural History in River Forest kept a coyote in a small cage in solitary confinement for 18 years until it recently died.
1 minute.
They currently have other wildlife in small enclosures as well. This is unacceptable. I am asking this board to look at this situation with fresh eyes and agree that we can do better. The treatment of this coyote and other caged animals is going to seriously ruin the reputation of the Cook County Forest Preserve District. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker, Pat Craig, the Wild Animal Sanctuary. Pat Craig. Pat Craig. I'll move to the next speaker, Barbara Weiner, Chicago Nature Seekers. Ms. Weiner? Ms. Weiner. Next speaker, Molly Miner. If I've called your name, you did not answer, we will call you again. I'm hoping that there's not a connection problem. Molly Miner, are you with us?
I am.
Hi.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Molly Miner, and I teach at the Near North Montessori School in the Wicker Park neighborhood of Chicago in District 12, and I've been doing so since 2001. And for almost 2 decades now, I've taken my students to the River Trail Nature Center 3 times a year to give them access to their forest, prairie, excellent guides, and live animals. Throughout this time, the staff at the River Trail Nature Center has demonstrated immense care for what they do and the animals they take care of. Their commitment to the well-being of fragile ecosystems, as well as the well-being of the animals in their care, is obvious and has inspired care for our natural world and empathy for animals in my students. Our records don't go farther back than 2009, but after looking at the data, I mean, I'm here today representing from members of my school alone, and I know friends in other schools have taken their students, but 1,900 individuals. I now have young adults who come back to visit who have shared how meaningful it was for them to have close contact with wild animals that they would otherwise only have learned about in books. Some of my past students have gone on to take care of animals in their adulthood, inspired by many of the rescue stories of the animals they were able to see in person during our trips to the River Trail Nature Center. Other past students have become activists, committing great amounts of time and effort into protecting the wild and the earth at large. Their original interest in our earth and the diversity of its inhabitants was cultivated through their time with animals at the River Trail Nature Center. We have learned from the past 2 years that yes, we can teach and learn through pictures and books and online. Children can learn about coyotes through YouTube videos and pictures and books, but the ability to see a coyote in person, to learn about its story and see it taken care of, to be able to observe its movements in real time, to watch it eat, sleep, smell, and listen, all in real time and in person, to make contact with the coyote.
1 minute.
Which experience do you think is more likely to inspire authentic, long-lasting care for the coyote, nature, and all of its other inhabitants? The folks at the River Trail Nature Center provide an incredible and necessary education for our children. And a huge part of that education is based on the care of animals, the love, kindness, and thoughtfulness, resources, and education it takes to truly take care of animals because you love them and want children to learn to love them too.
30 seconds.
It'll be a very sad day when that is no longer available to our children. And I hope we are able to make decisions not based off of emotionality, but on, logical and ethical reasoning. Thank you.
Next speaker is Valerie Johnson, Michigan State University. Ms. Johnson?
Hi.
Hi, please proceed. Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Great. My name is Dr. Valerie Johnson. I've been a veterinarian for 25 years. I'm board certified in emergency and critical care medicine. I have a PhD in immunology, and I currently work as an associate professor at Colorado State University. I do a lot of work with small animals and exotic animals. I worked for 5 years at the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado, which has over 400 large felids, wild canids, bears, and other animals. They do have, when I was there, I think we had about 10 coyotes. They're well versed in the care of coyotes. So I'm basing my assessment on video footage of the coyote and also on reading materials that I was presented giving people's opinions. So watching that video, I can tell you for sure that that coyote is under a lot of stress. It's exhibiting what we call stereotypical behavior of pacing back and forth. Coyotes and other wild canids are very shy, easily stressed animals. And as such, in a habitat, they need a place where they can completely escape from human view if they want to. This is usually provided by dens or other buildings. This coyote has no place where it can fully escape human view. And in fact, doesn't have enough area where it can go to escape humans. Coyotes that can't escape human observation are just by nature stressed. All wild canids are very high stress. So at the Wild Animal Sanctuary, the habitats that we provided for coyotes who could not be returned to the wild were such that they had a very large area. They had underground dens. They could go in their underground dens. They had vegetation that they could go hide behind if they wanted to avoid being seen. But
1 minute.
Monitoring is such that they are able to be seen every day to make sure that they're healthy. There's an animal hospital there and veterinarians on staff to take care of any of the animals. And it provides a more natural place as good as you can get if you're not in the wild for an animal that can't be released into the wild. They have very intricate programs for introducing animals so that
30
animals
seconds.
don't need to be alone, causing a pack animal to be by itself or not have any even olfactory or smell stimuli of another animal causes them a lot of stress as well. So there is no educational value to having children see an animal completely stressed in a cage. In my mind, that just educates them that that's okay, which it is not. And with that, I will end. I think I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Our next speaker is Dr. Audrey Sigris, zoo veterinarian from Culver, Indiana. Dr. Sigris? Dr. Sigris. You're muted, doctor. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
We can. Please proceed.
Okay, good morning. I'm a veterinarian currently at Potawatomi Zoo in South Bend, Indiana. But prior to being here, I was the veterinarian for the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum in Tucson, where we had a number of captive coyotes on a large acreage. And in addition to that, I helped out two wildlife rehab organizations in the Tucson area, which took care of coyotes as well. I have to say right off the bat, I have not personally examined this coyote in question, but what I do know is from what was publicly available on a video and pictures. So that's what I'm using to base my assessment on. The two biggest concerns that I have based on my knowledge of coyotes is, one, the size of the enclosure. And I agree with Dr. Johnson's assessment. It doesn't appear that there's an area that the coyote can choose to withdraw from crowds if they're feeling stressed. But the area is really a huge concern of mine. Most coyotes are pack animals. There's a smaller extent of coyotes who are solitary, but that's usually because a mate has died or because they're looking to enter a pack. But a study that was actually done by an urban coyote research project of the Chicago area that's posted online had some really interesting research that states that coyotes who are solitary actually have a larger range
I'm sorry. Please mute yourself if you're not a public speaker. Please mute yourself.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, thank you. So the interesting research shows that solitary coyotes actually require a larger space than coyotes in a pack. So solitary coyotes were found in the research to have a range up to 10 miles, whereas pack coyotes have a range sometimes 2 to 4 miles. And the way that we housed our coyotes at the Desert Museum were several acres, and they were in a pack situation. And so based on that information and experience, it does look like the coyote in question doesn't quite have a large enough area to provide the normal needs. And
1 minute.
Even if this coyote happened to be a solitary animal, that is not the common amount of coyotes. That's at most a third of the population of coyotes shown to be solitary. And it's a lot of times for a reason, like I stated earlier, that it's because their mate has died or they're looking to join a pack. So in my assessment, the most important thing here is providing it more with what they would need naturally.
30
a
seconds.
larger space, and also the opportunity for proper socialization under the guidance of experienced rehabbers or sanctuary personnel. And I think with that, I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Carney Ann Naser. Carney Ann Naser.
Hey there.
Hi. Please proceed.
First of all, please bear with me. I have a really bad case of COVID, but I'm gonna cough my way through this because this is important. My name is Carney Ann Nassar, and I'm a career wildlife protection attorney with over a decade of work in the nonprofit sector and legal academia. I was the second full-time animal law professor in the world, and prior to my current post at Harvard, I was the director of Michigan State's Animal Welfare Clinic for 3 years. I was featured and worked on the award-winning documentary, The Conservation Game, which was all about the link, between so-called ambassador animals and wildlife trafficking. And I've been involved in the rescue and rehoming of literally dozens of animals, many of whom I have rehomed to Pat Craig's Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado. And on top of that, I put together the wildlife trafficking case against Joe Exotic. I've successfully litigated cases involving enclosures such as this one that Rocky's confined to, where judges have found unlawful cruelty to animals based on the evidence of stereotypic behaviors and evidence of psychological stress. An animal doesn't have to have open wounds for a judge to find cruelty to animals. It can be based on evidence of psychological suffering. And the board's statement that the animal is well fed, well housed, and treated promptly for medical concerns, that's not the hill you want to die on, because that's not even sufficient to avoid a finding of cruelty to animals. Like, that's a little bit, like, that's a bare minimum. But just to give you a point of reference, I spoke with my friends at the Lincoln Park Zoo, and they provided me with information about coyotes and canids, and their statement about confinement, where the AZA, Association of Veterinarians, judge to find cruelty to animals. I'm sorry, I heard an echo. Careful consideration should be given to exhibit design so that all areas meet the physical, social, behavioral, and psychological needs of the coyote. Animals should be displayed in exhibits replicating their natural habitat. There are standards for housing coyotes and other canids. It's 140 pages long. Well-fed, well-housed, treated promptly for medical concerns. Frankly, that's embarrassing.
1 minute.
Sorry, Pat Craig, however, so those are the standards of the AZA. Pat Craig has the biggest wild animal sanctuary in the world. I've been there a number of times, and his standards they even surpass those of the AZA. So frankly, in my professional opinion, this animal should be relocated to his sanctuary as soon as possible. The facts are, with all due respect to the young lady,
30 seconds.
Montessori school, you cannot learn about a coyote other than what they look like from seeing them confined into an enclosure that denies them their ability to act like a coyote. There's no educational value, as my colleagues have stated. In fact, the data and evidence shows, data and evidence written about by my friends at the Lincoln Park Zoo, that seeing animals confined or demonstrated or displayed in an unnatural type of way actually diminishes our appreciation for true wildlife conservation, and just suggests that animals are only here for our whims. So please, I urge you to do the right thing. This is a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Laura K. Bowler. Laura K. Bowler.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Dr. Laura Baylor. I have been a veterinarian for the past 9 years. I graduated from the University of California, Davis School of Veterinary Medicine. Throughout veterinary school, I focused on the care of captive wildlife and zoological species. Prior to vet school, I spent approximately 10 years caring for captive wildlife, including big cats, coyotes, wolves, foxes, and I am well versed in the care of captive canid species. I am a USDA licensed veterinarian. I do write health certificates for the transport international and interstate for wild animals. I am currently based in the state of Utah. I'm a full-time exotic veterinarian in that state, and I have participated in performing exams, rabies vaccinating, and writing health certificates for over 150 wolves, that were relocated to a new habitat. During my time I spent prior to vet school, I did participate in capture of wild coyotes, medical care, assisting in the medical care, first aid of those animals, be it hit by car, gunshot wounds, and was able to participate in the care and rehabilitation and release of captive coyotes. I have also cared for coyotes in captivity, in zoo and private exotic animal sanctuaries. In addition to my experience with wild animals, I have also participated in the inspection of roadside zoos and provided expert witness testimony on the care of those animals in those facilities. I did look at the video of the coyote in this facility. We can see him pacing. He is exhibiting extreme stress and stereotypic behavior. As a veterinarian, I know that captive animals that are undergoing extreme stress are prone to infectious disease because they have weakened immune systems. In my opinion, this animal does need to be relocated. This facility has an opportunity to make this right.
30 seconds.
He needs to be transported to a facility where he will be given access to more space and have an opportunity to interact with other coyotes. I do want him to be transported to the Wild Animal Sanctuary. I have visited the facility. It is an amazing facility, and they will be able to take care of him appropriately there. And this is an opportunity for this facility to set an example to the public.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Hannah Nelson. If you're not a public speaker, please mute your mic. Hannah Nelson.
I'm here. Hi.
Hi, please proceed.
Thank you for having me. I have 10 years and over 100 hours of experience volunteering at the River Trail Nature Center. I studied environmental studies and anthropology at Loyola University Chicago. You can find my entire statement and references submitted to the record. First and foremost, Ms. Milan's heart is in the right place, but if her plan were to be acted upon, our resident coyote would be in danger. In Milan's Change.org petition, she claims that the coyote in question would be relocated to a 10,000-acre facility. In reality, the Keensburg, Colorado facility is 789 acres and is further broken up into specific enclosures, 2 of which are dedicated to coyotes. Already, it seems that Ms. Milan is speaking in misguided broad brushstrokes as they are delivered in the Netflix series Tiger King, from which the sanctuary has come into the pop media purview most recently. Dr. Johnson's and Dr. Segrist's statements are interesting and compelling, although based only on videos. Based on Dr. Segrist's statement, our coyote should have 10 miles to roam. We would love this. I would argue that the sanctuary would also not be able to provide this based on their layout. Ms. Nasser's insinuation that the Nature Center is doing the bare minimum is flippant and insulting. Her statement that the coyote should be relocated to the sanctuary is not based on scientific observations on how these pack animals would interact with this outsider. There are 2 pre-established packs of these defensive and predatory animals already in the facility. They may violently reject this solo male as a result. The introduction of this male would also disrupt every facet of their habits, thus causing immense stress of all coyotes involved. Please see both The Sociology of Coyotes by Burkhoff and Wells and The Effect of Randomly Altering the Time and Location of Feeding on the Behavior of Captive Coyotes by Gilbert, Norton, Lever, and Shivik, linked in my email for additional information. Milan has also entered into the record her hyperbole of vocal torture that the coyote experiences. Children are loud. I've seen it. They're just excited, though. We're trained to redirect that excitement into an observing educational manner. This is also nothing new to captive animals at any location open to the public. Lastly, the recognizable benefit of having the coyote remain at the Nature Center is not only because it is the only stable, loving environment it has ever known, but it is also dutifully cared for as all the resident animals are. For all of the resident animals, I've prepared meals behind the scenes that varied on the day of the week and the season to not only keep meal times exciting, but also have them mirror what the animal would find in the wild. Everyone acknowledges that a coyote in captivity is not the most ideal. However, staff and volunteers alike share this with the public and use it as a teaching tool. In the meantime, I can unequivocally say that this coyote and all of its fellow residents are being cared for by the most genuine, dedicated team of scientists I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next public speaker, Benjamin Cox, Friends of the Forest Preserve. Mr. Cox, are you connected?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed.
This is Benjamin Cox. I'm Executive Director of Friends of the Forest Preserves. I was not prepared to speak today, but since our organization was called out, I just wanted to take a moment to set the record straight. Friends of the Forest Preserves is a separate, independent, nonprofit organization. We're an advocacy organization that engages people and brings resources to the table for the forest preserves. We also are happy to push on the forest preserves when there's issues that we should be focusing on, but in no way are we directly involved in the determination of the outcome of this animal's situation. Ms. Milan, despite many communications with us via email, seems to still be misinformed about our involvement and our ability to impact what the outcome is here with this animal. We are looking into this as our commissioners and other folks, that care and are concerned about this situation, but today that's not something that I'm prepared to speak on.
Thank you. Madam President, I'm going to recall those that did not answer when we began. First registered speaker was Nuh-uh Ashikin Buja. Nuh-uh Ashikin Buja. Are you connected? Next registered speaker was Nicole Milan. She did represent. And the next one is Pat Craig. Pat Craig did not answer. Pat, are you connected? Okay. The other that did not respond was Barbara Weiner. Barbara Weiner, the Nature Seekers? No. Thank you. That does conclude our list of registered public speakers. And as I said previously, those that submitted written testimony will be added to the record and to our website.
All right, I'd like to thank all of our public speakers. Let's proceed with the consent calendar. Chairman Arroyo.
Madam President?
Yes.
Actually, Madam President, I would like to make a few comments, and then we prepared a brief presentation to inform the commissioners on this issue around the coyote. It'll probably take about 5 minutes.
Thank you. You're right and I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Okay, thank you again. It's clear that this issue has engendered a lot of passion and discussion on both sides, and I appreciate that everybody involved is motivated by the love of animals and the dedication to their health and their well-being. I hope it's also obvious that the Forest Preserves, we share that dedication. Our mission is to restore and manage lands to protect and preserve public open space, including the wildlife that call the Forest Preserves home. One way we do that is to educate the public about the natural world here in Cook County. It's in part because it's a wonderful place to explore and enjoy, but also to share why everyone should care about and protect these critical wild places. The coyote at River Trail Nature Center is one of our ambassador animals. Each of these animals in our care at the Nature Center is there because it cannot survive in the wild on its own for its own unique reason. We are committed to ongoing, high-quality care of these animals, and we meet and exceed the standards associated with that commitment. We take this responsibility very, very seriously. Every year, hundreds of thousands of school kids and families see our ambassador animals and hear about their lives, what they eat, where they nest, and how they live in the wild. It's a powerful thing to see a hawk or a coyote in front of you and to know that others are living maybe just a mile away or even closer to your home here in Cook County. Our director of the Forest Preserves Department of Conservation and Experiential Programming, Jackie Ulrich, and the director of the River Trail Nature Center, Michelle Motlowitz, will give us more detailed information about the coyote and all of our ambassador animals. I also want to note that Chris Anker, our chief wildlife biologist, is on the call as well to answer questions. So Jackie and Michelle.
Thanks, Superintendent Randall. Good morning, Madam President and commissioners. I'm going to share my screen. You see my PowerPoint about ambassador animals?
Nothing yet,
No.
Jackie.
Right. No?
No.
Hi. No, not yet. Sorry.
Give us some more details.
How's that?
Detailed information about the coyote and all of our.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. So thanks for having us this morning. Michelle Motlowitz is here with me from the River Trail Nature Center. So many of you have been to the nature centers and also met some of our ambassador animals at events around the city, including our Live Healthy Discover Nature Center event at Daly Plaza. I know the wonderful opportunity is to meet an animal in person. So why do we have ambassador animals in the care of the Forest Preserve? We care for these first and foremost because they're injured or imprinted and they can't be released in the wild. They can't actually live in the wild. We're the stewards for their caregivers. We're part of a network of organizations who keep these injured and imprinted animals and care for them. And we have a process for obtaining these animals that includes analyzing our sites, our staffing, our enclosures, along with thinking about how they can provide an interpretive and an educational offering to the public. Often we are actually contacted by some of these organizations because they know about the quality of our care and our facilities. So these animals do play an important role in helping us interpret the nature and the forest preserves. And as you know, we have our 5 of our nature centers have these ambassador animals, and they're animals that are native to Cook County so that we can tell the story of how they interact with the habitat that is Cook County and the preserves that we take care of. So our ambassador animal programs are some of our most popular programs. You know, if you're in the preserves walking or hiking, we think you're actually lucky if you see an animal in the wild and have an opportunity to observe and hear them. But that doesn't often happen. So it's an opportunity at the nature centers or at our programs to meet these animals, to see the power of these animals, to see the power of their talons, the power of their beaks, their fur, see them up close and learn a lot about them. We have over 500,000 people come to the nature centers for a variety of reasons. That includes our animal programs, but often we're here. One of the main reasons that people are coming is to see the animals and learn more about them. So our process for obtaining these animals is, you know, it's a process, right? So we're licensed, we get permits. Our permits come through the USDA. We have a Class C exhibitor's license for educational offerings for these animals. The USDA, we do annual applications and renewals of our license, and we have unannounced visits by inspectors to visit these animals. We take daily care is really important to us, 7 days a week, holidays, etc. Even through the COVID quarantine, animal care was of utmost mind, that we were making sure that we were taking care of these animals. We're committed to their care through veterinary practices, observations. We do enrichment with them so that we can do the best care that we can give them. We invest in these animals. We make over $63,000 annually for food, housing, upkeep, and care of these animals. That does not include the staff time or that we put into these animals, nor does it include like the training that we provide staff and professional development for these animals. Now I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Motlowitz, and she's going to talk about our coyote specifically at River Trail.
Good morning, everyone. Midsummer 2018, River Trail staff became aware of an imprinted coyote at a licensed wildlife rehabilitation facility in Tennessee who needed permanent placement, which means a permanent home. This coyote pup and his litter mates had been found under a house porch, so young their eyes were not even open, and they were brought to a local Humane Society shelter that's for dogs and cats and cared for by the staff, just like any other domestic dog. That means they were raised to be adopted as puppies. They were cuddled, bottle-fed, played with, and socialized with people. After several weeks with the Humane Society, they realized that the pups were actually coyotes and not domestic dogs. Those coyote pups were transferred to the wildlife rehabilitation facility, and the rehabilitation facility worked with the coyote pups to wild them up or try to undo the damage created by the imprinting. But they found the litter to be too attached to people. They were too friendly, they were too socialized, they were too dependent on people. Let me explain real quickly a little bit more about imprinting and socialization in animals. Imprinting and socialization are very closely connected behavioral events. Imprinting itself occurs during a very limited amount of time, typically for a short period after an animal is born or hatched. A very young animal fixes its attention on the first object which it has visual, auditory, or tactile experience with, and therefore it becomes part of whatever it is attached to. In nature, it's usually a parent, but when an animal, wild animal, is taken out of nature, it ends up being human beings. This imprinting has a profound effect on young animals as it matures. Birds and mammals removed from the wild can be imprinted so quickly on whatever animal is caring for it during this critical period. And socialization itself is separate from imprinting. That can happen at any time in an animal's life. This coyote was both imprinted and socialized with people. Now, we are its family. We are its stewards now. His home includes the overall shelter, and that has that gives it a variety of ways that we prevent, the wet elements and windy elements from getting to him. He has wind screening, additional climbing structures and platforms. He has a hammock. He has 3 den structures inside his enclosure. He has a natural hollow log, he has a dog loo, and a kennel. And that kennel does not face the opening or the front of the enclosure, so he can hide in it from people whenever he chooses. These dens are so important because coyotes need those small spaces to curl up in for safety. He has additional spaces or he has additional things within his dens, straw and blankets when he chooses to keep those blankets in. He has fresh water and he's fed multiple times daily. Staff picks up after him daily. We perform deeper cleanings weekly, monthly, and seasonally as appropriate. We spend a lot of time with him, working with him on training, target training specifically, and enrichment. The target training is both a form of enrichment, and it helps us to give him the best care possible. We have veterinarian exams, annual exams. We have regular conversations with our veterinarian as needed. Anything he needs medically is always addressed and handled immediately. And also, I want to remind everybody that he is biologically still a wild coyote. So his imprinting makes him psychologically and emotionally a puppy. But because he is a wild coyote, he has everything he needs to withstand the elements outside. The cold weather, for example. He's got great fur. He's healthy. He can handle the weather. So animals move around in their enclosures in a variety of ways. Our staff uses a combination of techniques to understand each specific animal behavior and the physical conditions that are happening. We look at everything on a daily basis, multiple times a day. We're in there with him multiple times a day. We weigh him to make sure his weight is healthy, and talk with the vet if there's any significant changes. We are able to physically put our hands on him and check him for any kinds of unusual situations. As for, animal movement in his enclosure, he does need exercise, and that's a lot of times what he is using the enclosure for physical activity. He's marking his territory, he's patrolling, he's expressing a lot of excitement, especially anticipation of his feeding time, activity with any of the staff or other human beings, engaging in play behavior, and curiosity about his changes to the environment. And that can include loud noises or interruptions to his daily schedule or other animals. Now we're going to show you a short video right now of our coyote. This is both a nail clipping and a target training and an enrichment video. And you can see he's very interested in his time with our staff. We are able to have our hands on him. He is not stressed out. He is calm. He is willing to let us touch him. And his behavior looks exactly as it should for, unfortunately, an imprinted coyote. The staff here, we include, first of all and foremost, our senior wildlife biologist is Chris Anker. Chris Anker has worked as the senior biologist with the Forest Preserves for 34 years. He has been studying, researching, and publishing papers about coyotes for 30 years. In addition, River Trail Nature Center staff, we have 4 full-time staff with decades of experience. I myself have been with the district. I'm in my 30th year. One of our staff is a former licensed wildlife rehabilitator, and we have staff with a variety of different experiences. We have staff at other facilities that have zoo experiences. We work together on coming together in our committees to work on talking about how we care for the animals. And we do ongoing training. We work on professional development. All of these things we keep up to date with the best practices. Thank you so much, everybody, for caring so much about our coyote. We appreciate that. We care about him so much ourselves. A lot of people care about this coyote. He's a unique animal. He is, we individually assess every animal, and this coyote is no different. But he cannot live with other coyotes. He is an imprinted coyote that was raised by people, and we are his family. We are his pack. Thank you.
Our presentation, Madam President. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jackie.
Yes, thank you, Arnold, Michelle, and Jackie, for that presentation. We're very grateful. And again, thanks to our public speakers. All right, let's try this again. Chairman Arroyo.
Madam President?
Yes.
This is Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
I have my hand raised. If I could just take 1 minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Commissioner Britton. I didn't see your hand.
Not a problem. Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the Forest Preserves and all those individuals who have shown interest in this coyote. This is in my district, and I was actually out there with Michelle last week. I went into the cage, and I can tell you that 2 things that I observed. One, this is probably the best looking and best well cared for coyote I've ever seen, and I've seen quite a few. Also, the people at River Trails don't just acknowledge this coyote, they love this coyote. And they're trying to do what's best for it. And that's what my purpose is in the conversations I've had with Executive Director Randall and with everyone who works for the preserves. We're just trying to figure out what's best for this coyote. And I think we need to continue this conversation. I think there's a lot of information that is both somewhat emotional, but also somewhat logical as to what we can do to improve this situation. And that's what I'm committed to do as the Commissioner of the 14th District, and also continue to work with Arnold and his team to make sure that everything is done for this coyote that needs to be done. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. I apologize for missing your hand, Commissioner Britton.
No problem.
Are there any other hands? All right, the Secretary tells me there are no further hands raised. All right, let's try again. Chairman Arroyo.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to suspend the rules and take up all items on the consent calendar. Those items are 220018.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Let's suspend the rules first. The motion on the floor is to suspend the rules. It's made by the Chairman Arroyo and seconded by Vice Chair Deere. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Now you have a main motion. Chairman?
Madam President, I move to approve the entire consent calendar, and those items are as follows: 220018, 220017, and 220009.
All right. Second. The motion is made by the chairman and seconded by the vice chairman to approve 3 items. Superintendent Randall.
Thank you, Madam President. First item is 22-0009. This is a resolution for a Chicago Wilderness Award for the Forest Preserves. There's actually 2. We're very proud to be among the award recipients for the 2021 awards from Chicago Wilderness. The first is the award for Cranberry Slough and the Excellence in Ecological Restoration. Cranberry Slough is a wonderful site in the Palos Preserves, and if you've never been, I really encourage you to check it out. It's pretty awesome. The 380-acre preserve is one of our 27 Illinois nature preserves that includes upland woods and one of only a handful of peat bog ecosystems in Illinois. This restoration success story started decades ago by volunteers. In 2015, the Forest Preserves began a series of large-scale restoration projects that has helped it reach what Chicago Wilderness has designated as a platinum accreditation. So that means the highest level of accreditation by Chicago Wilderness. And this means that our site was looked at with a whole bunch of other sites from other forest preserves in the region, and given this and by a committee of folks who have expertise in this area and recognize this as a high-level restoration at the top level. So we're really proud of that. The other Chicago Wilderness Award was for the Greater Maywood Paddling Program, and this is the George B. Rabb Force of Nature Award. You may have heard about this program before, but it's won a number of awards before as well. It's based in the Maywood area in the western suburbs, and it makes it easy for organizations to get its members kayaking in the preserves. Today we have 2 leaders of the program for the Forest Preserves with us at the meeting, Justin Mercer and Kristen Baker. I want to thank them both for their really good work. We also have representatives from a few of our partner organizations who are integral to its success. Kim Mears, who's the program director at Opportunity Knox, and Patrick Callahan, who's the adult services manager at the Westchester Public Library. Kim and Patrick will give us more information about this program just briefly and its impact. So we have Kim and Patrick.
Hi, this is Jackie. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah,
You're muted, Justin.
Justin, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
I apologize. Yeah, we are here today with Patrick Callahan and Kim Mears, and they both prepared some short words to say about the impact of the Greater Maywood Paddling Program on their participants and people who have been involved in the program. So Patrick, if you could go first, please.
Sure. I'm Patrick. I'm the Adult Services Manager at Westchester Public Library. The Greater Maywood Paddling Program has been transformative for the Westchester community. We started in 2018 and recognized early on that this would be just a golden opportunity to offer our public a special experience. In our profession, library programming is often very parochial, and libraries tend to offer the same types of programs to their communities. Things like author events, historical reenactors, crafts and story times, and so on. And those programs have their place, but Westchester Library takes the view that we can provide access to experiences the same way we would with provide access to books and movies and music and so on. So many of our residents grew up within the city limits, and they view pastimes like kayaking as kind of an exotic hobby enjoyed by people in other parts of the world. So to be able to provide access to kayaking training, equipment, and a river trip, thanks to our partnership with the Forest Preserve, at no cost to our patrons, has really enabled us to deliver life-enriching experiences. It's genuinely enabled us to take people to their everyday horizons and live fuller lives. And just to give you an idea, in our first season kayaking, I think we brought over 200 patrons kayaking. Partnering with the Greater Maywood Paddling Program has really given us the opportunity to set a good example for our professional peers also. Libraries value partnerships, but they often engage the same type of partners. So libraries tend to work with other libraries, publishers, and schools. But by thinking innovatively and developing relationships with non-traditional partners like the Forest Preserve, we've been able to show our peers how libraries can expand programs and services and create program offerings that are qualitatively better and reach new populations. So we are immensely grateful for our opportunity to participate in the Greater Maywood Paddling Program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. We also have Kim Mears, Program Director at Opportunity Knox. Kim, I apologize, we do not have the video available right now. So,
No problem, Justin. I will give a verbal description of everything. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Kim Mears. I am part of the nonprofit organization Opportunity Knox. We are a community program that serves young people and adults who live in Oak Park, River Forest Park community, and have intellectual and or developmental disabilities. As an agency, we are constantly working to create opportunities to bridge connections from our warriors to their community. The bridge was forged in 2019 by Justin Mercer and Kristen Backer of the Greater Maywood Paddling Program when they reached out to us. I would like to thank both Justin and Kristen for our thriving 3-year partnership with the Forest Preserve District. I would also like to thank my fellow OK team members who helped to implement and carry out the kayaking program to our amazing warriors. And finally, I would like to thank the warriors who participated in the kayaking program. Before I leave, I want to share with you a quick story about how the Greater Maywood paddling program positively impacted a specific warrior, although at least 20 to 30 warriors have participated in the program, including staff members. But I'd like to talk to you about Adrian. Adrian is a 30-year-old young man who lives with his mother and father in Oak Park. At Opportunity Knox, Adrian receives full support from an OK team member to participate in activities with his friends. Adrian does not use words to communicate, but he does use sounds and facial expressions. You will know when Adrian is content when he smiles or when he needs a break when he is on the move. Adrian's mother describes Adrian as unpredictable. She also shares concerns that it is hard to find activities where Adrian can do the same things that his friends do. It's a very big challenge for them. So when OK contacted Adrian's family about the Greater Maywood paddling program, they were beyond excited and nervous. They were excited about this new first-time experience ever for their son Adrian to be on a kayak, but they were also nervous because Adrian could possibly stand up in the kayak. The training was tremendous to all of staff. But just to tell you, as soon as Adrian had his life vest on, he became happy and smiled. He immediately wanted to sit in the kayak and did so, calmly waiting for the staff to launch him and his team member into the water. Once Adrian entered the water, there was an immediate peacefulness and happiness that became apparent in his body language and facial expressions. He did not stand up in the boat as feared. Rather, he sat back in a calm nature and peacefully ran his fingers through the water, smiling the biggest smile. This is a video of Adrian. Afterward, when his mom asked Adrian about his experience, he beamed with this huge smile. He describes that moment as Adrian feeling really proud of himself for kayaking that day and for doing it with his friends. It was an incredible experience for me to witness this moment, watching Adrian connect with nature and his friends. Thank you, Kristen, Justin, the Greater Maywood Paddling Program. We truly treasure and value our partnership with you, and we are honored to be recognized by all of you. Thank you and be well.
Thank you. I want to thank all the speakers on that. And we're really proud of the Greater Maywood Paddling Program. It's really connected a lot of new users to our waterways and learning to paddle in kayaks and canoes. And it's been really exciting. And it's a great partnership with the public library, sort of a non-traditional partnership that has really yielded a lot of success. And I want to thank our staff for all of their work in making that happen. We'll move on to the next item, which is 22-0017. This is a resolution honoring officers for apprehending a subject. Specifically, I want to recognize and congratulate officers Jorge Tapia, Brian Dickey, and Jairo Nieves, and then Police Sergeant Andrew Chomar. Back on December 2nd of 2021, we were contacted by the Moore County Sheriff's Office in Minnesota requesting assistance with locating a subject out on a warrant who was allegedly threatening a child and threatened to kill the child's mother and was headed to Chicago. So a very serious situation. Our officers, the person in question, their vehicle was identified as being in Bussey Woods or near Bussey Woods. Our officers searched that area and worked with local officials, but decided to continue the search when they initially could not find them. Our officers ultimately found the vehicle at the Ned Brown Forest Preserve and safely took the subject into custody without further incident. We want to recognize our officers for this great work and their dedication to identifying and apprehending somebody who was clearly a danger and had made real dangerous threats to other people. So I want to thank again Officers Jorge Tapia, Officer Brian Dickey, Officer Jairo Nieves, and Sergeant Andrew Chomer for their work. Thank you all. The next item is 22-0018. And this is also recognizing Forest Preserve police officers for identifying and performing life-saving on a person who was in distress, who had attempted suicide. We were able to identify that person, and officers Julio Irizarry and Mercedes Martinez, along with Cook County Sheriff Sergeant Chris Flybon, for their work and their dogged determination to find and then provide medical attention to a woman who was in a life-threatening situation. I understand they're here today, and I want to also recognize these officers for their work and they're literally saving someone's life. Obviously, our police department, their main job is to make sure that the patrons of the Forest Preserve are safe and secure and are able to enjoy the preserves in a way that they are safe. But there are above and beyond circumstances like these last two incidents that I described where they are involved in life-saving or apprehending dangerous people. So I want to thank all of our officers for their work. And if any of them would like to say a word, I'd just offer that up to them. So I know I see Sergeant Chilmore on the line. Maybe Sergeant Chilmore, is there anything that you'd like to say?
Thank you, Superintendent Randall. I am pleased to say that it's a team effort and we work together very well, and all of us are dedicated to protect the citizens of Cook County who visit our forest preserves, and we are happy and grateful for the opportunity to do so.
Wonderful. Madam President, that is the consent calendar.
All right, our consent calendar consists of recognition for a canoeing and kayaking program, recognition of officers who apprehended a dangerous individual and officers who saved the life of a suicidal person, and restoration of Cranberry Slough, which I've walked in on a number of occasions and encouraged commissioners and viewers to visit. It's a great hike. All right, are there any comments, questions from our commissioners? No hands raised. All right, would the secretary please call the roll?
This is approval of the consent calendar. Commissioner Aguilar?
Aye.
Commissioner Aguilar is aye. Commissioner Naya?
Anaya, aye.
Commissioner Naya is aye. Commissioner Arroyo?
Arroyo, aye.
Commissioner Arroyo is aye. Commissioner Britton? Commissioner Britton? I'll come back. Commissioner Daly?
Daly, aye. And let me thank needless to say, the paddling group from Maywood, as well as all the officers and sergeants. You officers and sergeants, you're a fine example of the Forest Preserve Police, the outstanding job you do every single day. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Daly is aye. Commissioner Deere?
Commissioner Deere is aye, and I too want to say thank you for the fine job that the officers did. And also thank you for sharing with us the success of the pedaling program. I just thought the story was fantastic, and it's good to see that our services in the Forest Preserve helps everybody. So thank you so much. That was just a wonderful story.
Thank you. Commissioner Deere is aye. Commissioner Degnan?
Commissioner Degnan is aye, and let me just say that we have a lot of great consent calendars at the Forest Preserve, but this month is truly remarkable. So thank you for everyone.
Commissioner Degnan is aye. Commissioner Gaynor? Commissioner Gaynor? I'll come back. Commissioner Johnson?
Johnson, aye.
Commissioner Johnson is aye. Commissioner Laurie?
Commissioner Laurie, aye.
Commissioner Laurie is aye. Commissioner Miller?
Commissioner Miller is aye, and I want to say congratulations and thank you to the officers for your fine work. It really does set a great example, and especially raising the awareness of what happens that people don't, know about what goes on in the forest preserve, but we're able to handle. So thank you.
Commissioner Miller is aye. Commissioner Moore is excused absent. Commissioner Kevin Morrison?
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations to everyone being recognized today. I think it's incredible that our forest preserves are really striving to be more ADA accessible. I saw it firsthand with ADA accessible kayaks in Busty Woods over the summer. Everyone should have the opportunity to enjoy the wonders of Cook County's Forest Preserve District. I also want to thank our law enforcement for serving the public and keeping our residents safe. I think these are exactly the stories that deserve recognition, and I really hope to see more examples of our heroic actions of our law enforcement, keeping our public safe, and those actions be recognized by our Forest Preserve Board moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kevin Morrison is aye. Commissioner Sean Morrison?
Commissioner Sean Morrison is aye, and I would also like to take the moment to thank the officers involved in these stories that we've heard here, but also to commend you. I actually live kind of in the heart of the forest preserves in the southwest suburbs here, and I see you folks out there every single day driving past, driving in and out, and it's great when the general public can understand to a full extent the very duties of nature of which you guys and gals go through every single day. And thank you for being out there, and thank you for protecting not only the forest reserve, but of course the residents that utilize them. So thank you.
Commissioner Sean Morrison is aye. Commissioner Silvestri?
I too would like to share in the accolades provided to the law enforcement people who keep our forest reserve safe. I'll tell you, if the forest reserve ever gets a reputation of not being safe, we're going to see a lot less people there. So we appreciate the work of the men and women of the department, especially those highlighted today, for keeping our forest reserves safe and hospitable to all from all different parts of our county and our metro region. I'd also like to commend the paddlers. Arnold Randall and I were there at the ribbon cutting a couple of years ago, and I can tell you that it's a great asset for the people who take advantage of the paddling along the Des Plaines River there at Lake Street. So thank you all for your service to the people of Cook County, because that's truly what we're all about. So thank you very much, and God bless you all. I vote yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Silvestri is aye. Commissioner Sims?
Thank you, Lynn. I'd like to first thank Arnold for bringing all of this to our attention, because without the superintendent and his staff bringing all this information and resolutions to us, we would not know about them. And thank you to the officers who every day patrol our forest preserves to try to keep people safe. Thank you so much, because if you were not there, you wouldn't have been able to save the people that you saved. And to the paddlers, congratulations for those of us who've been here for a little while. You know, all the great things that are going on in the forest preserve some of us had some pushback, but thanks to Arnold for bringing all this good recreation activities to the people of Cook County and the forest preserve. So thank you, and especially another shout out to the officers for doing what they do.
Thank you,
Commissioner. And my vote is aye.
Commissioner Sims is aye. Commissioner Sufferton?
Thank you. I want to thank and congratulate all those named in these resolutions. The forest preserves are such a jewel for this county, and it's because of all the people that we honored here today. I vote aye.
Commissioner Sufferton is aye. Let me recall those that did not respond. Commissioner Britton?
And my apologies, Madam Secretary. I also want to reiterate my thanks to the Forest Preserve Police Department. This particular hearing this morning, the resolution embodies the 10 shared principles that we've been trying to perpetuate in all of our police and the interactions with our constituents and the people who use the Forest Preserve. So thank you very much. I vote aye.
Commissioner Britton is aye. Commissioner Gaynor? Commissioner Gaynor was having some technical difficulty.
Commissioner Gaynor is.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize for that.
Thank you. And your vote, ma'am?
Aye.
Is aye.
Commissioner Gaynor is aye. Madam President, you have 16 ayes and 1 excused absence.
Thank you all. In the opinion of the chair, the motion carries. All right, Chairman Arroyo.
Madam President?
Yes, Commissioner Silvestri.
May I interrupt for 1 second to call the litigation committee to order, please?
Of course you may.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Chairman Arroyo, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I'll call the litigation subcommittee of the Forest Preserve District to order, please, and ask the secretary to take the roll.
Commissioner Britton?
Here.
Commissioner Degnan?
Degnan's present.
Commissioner Johnson?
Johnson here.
Vice Chairman Laurie?
Vice Chairman Lowry is present.
Commissioner Sean Morrison?
Sean Morrison's present.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Suffredin?
Present.
Chairman Silvestri?
Here.
Thank you, Chairman. You have a quorum.
Having been informed there is a quorum, we will recess to the call of the chair, which will be immediately following the Forest Reserve Board meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the litigation subcommittee of the Cook County Board of Commissioners to order and ask the secretary to please take the roll.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Britton?
Here.
Commissioner Degnan?
Degnan's present.
Commissioner Johnson?
Johnson here.
Vice Chairman Laurie?
Present.
Commissioner Sean Morrison?
Sean Morrison present.
Commissioner Suffredin?
Present.
Chairman Silvestri?
Present.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Having been informed there is a quorum, we will recess this committee to the call of the chair, which should be immediately after this board meeting. And that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Chairman Arroyo.
Thank you, Commissioner Silvestri. All right, one more time, Chairman Arroyo.
Thank you, Madam President. And I, again, would just like to say to the men and women of our police force, may God continue to bless you and your families. Madam President, I make the following motions to refer to Finance Committee item.
Excuse me, if you're not speaking, hold on, Commissioner Arroyo. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. Go ahead, start again, Chairman.
Thank you. I refer to the Finance Committee item number 220019 to approve 220008, 220010, to refer to Real Estate Committee item 220004, 220005, to approve item number 220002, 220003, 220011, 220015. To refer to Audit Committee item 220001, to refer to Environment and Sustainability Committee item 220016, to receive and file the following 220006, 220007, 220012, to concur with the recommendation of the Litigation Committee to approve 220013, to approve 220105, the Journal of Proceedings, and to receive and file 220014, the Calendar of Events.
Second.
I would ask Superintendent Randall for a description on these items, Madam President.
All right, the motion is made by the...
Madam President, Madam Chair.
Yes, Chairman Daley.
Just an inquiry. I know Commissioner, the mover moved everything. The first item, the tax levy, I wasn't sure if you wanted a separate roll call on that because you're going to have to do a reverse. I'm sorry, you're going to have to do the roll call and then reverse after it. So I didn't know if you wanted to divide it first.
Well, just a second. Is it 220019, Chairman? Because
yes, I wasn't sure if the chairman.
Do we need that since it's going to committee?
It's referring to. It's referring to finance.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's going to committee. I apologize.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chairman. All right. The motion is made by Chairman Arroyo, seconded by Vice Chair Deere. I would ask the superintendent to describe these items. And in just a second, if you would be good enough, we'll go through all of the descriptions, then we'll take any comments or questions. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. First item is 22-0019. I'd ask Steve Hughes, our CFO, to describe that.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Commissioners. Item 220019 is the 2022 tax levy ordinance. The tax levy is proposed at $102,617,687, a 2.5% increase over the 2021 levy. And as Chairman Arroyo mentioned, this is being referred to the Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. The next item is 22-0008. This is a proposed grant award from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. This is authorization for us to accept the grant in the amount of $150,000. This is for a plan to install a series of wayfinding and interpretive signs at Eggers Grove, located on the far southeast side of the city of Chicago. Eggers Grove is 240 acres of woodlands and wetlands that is a haven for migrating birds around the country. It connects to the Burnham Greenway Trail system, and there are several picnic groves for events. This is a site that is very popular. It's in the city of Chicago. There's a lot of uses there, so we're excited about the opportunity for additional wayfinding and making it easier for people to understand and get around this site. And more than happy to accept the $150,000 grant from the IDNR. The fiscal impact to us is $150,740, not to exceed $80,000 in direct match dollars, and then another $70,740 in in-kind support. The next item, excuse me, is 22-0010. This is a proposed grant award, again, from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources through its Coastal Management Program funding. This will allow us to do additional restoration acreage work at Beaubien Woods on the far south side of the city of Chicago. Beaubien Woods is in a location where we've been doing quite a bit of restoration over the past several years, in addition to all the programming and repaving work that we've done for the drives and for the parking lots out there. The grant amount is $30,000, and this will allow us to do additional restoration work at Beaubien Woods. The next item is 22-0004. This is a proposed license request with the Zayo Group, LLC. This is to operate and maintain 792 feet of buried fiber optic cable along Cermak Road in Westchester. The license would bring into compliance an existing license that was granted back in 2011. And since the original license, the owner of the fiber optic cable has changed to a different corporation, so this would reflect the new ownership and also would extend the license for an additional 10 years. We do our licenses in 10-year increments generally, and this will allow us, and so the total one-time upfront fee that they would pay us is $35,795.45. The next item is 22-0005. This is another proposed license request, again with the Zayo Group LLC. This would bring into compliance a fiber optic cable infrastructure of 11,260 feet buried along Milwaukee Avenue, Willow Road, and Sanders Road in Dam Number 1 Woods. The original license was granted back in 2000. The year 2000, and again, the corporation ownership of the corporation has changed. This new license would reflect the current owner and also extend the license for an additional 10 years. And so the total one-time upfront fee for this one is higher. This is $360,216.94. The next item is 22-0002. This is proposed miscellaneous item of business. This is for our Department of Conservation and Experiential Programming, asking for us to have discretionary spending up to $100,000 for the remainder of the year 2022 for support educational, recreational, and community engagement program services with a variety of program partners, including but not limited to artists, arts group, youth development groups, program trainers, curriculum development facilitators, and cultural groups. This allows us basically to partner up with organizations and with a maximum amount of $5,000 per organization for them to provide program services, to lead hikes, to lead cultural hikes, to do art-focused program events, things that would supplement the work that we do in the Forest Preserve. We may not have that expertise on staff, and it allows us to partner with other groups. We are committed to bringing whatever those expenditures are back on a regular reporting basis, so you have an understanding of what groups we've partnered with, and we've done that in the past. This allows us some flexibility in working with outside groups to enhance our opportunity to partner and do additional programming. The next item is 22-0003. This is an authorization to disperse a payment to Pizzo and Associates Limited. This is for comprehensive habitat enhancement services. So this is restoration work, removal of brush, doing prescribed burns, and this is for a number of projects throughout the forest preserves. The fiscal impact, this is for work that's already been completed. So this is a payment of $181,250.86. The next item is 22-0011. This is another proposed disbursement to pay Enlight Contracting LLC. This is for the removal and replacement of an existing asphalt parking lot at Schutz Grove in North Riverside. This is replacing the existing parking lot with a new permeable parking lot that was funded by 3 different entities: the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, Illinois Department of Natural Resources grant, and then the motor fuel tax dollars from the city, or not from the city, from the Cook County Department of Transportation and Highways. This initial payment